When the sheriff disappeared, nobody came looking, because in Dover's Hollow, people had learned that the ones who go missing in the fog don't come back the same. The last thing Donovan left behind was a patrol recorder. 7 hours of silence, until the final minute. A whispering. She's not gone, she's waiting. That knock didn't echo through the room. It echoed through the river. And that's where our story begins again. They found Donovan's patrol car 2 miles down from the bridge, half submerged, door open, engine still humming faintly. Inside, a map of Dover's Hollow was pinned to the passenger seat, but the ink had bled, forming new lines like veins leading straight beneath the water. And if you stood on the bridge that morning, you could swear the river was breathing. Diver 1, visibility's low. Something's down here, looks like concrete steps. Diver 2, steps? There's nothing on the blueprints for this riverbed. Diver 1, wait, I think I hear. Only one diver surfaced, and when he did, he was clutching something, a key, old, rusted, wrapped in strands of black hair. Days later, the county sent an investigator, Marla Keene, a forensic consultant with a quiet voice and eyes that didn't miss much. She read Donovan's files. Every missing person case since 1963. Each one vanished near water. Each one during fog. And every case file ended with the same line. No remains found. Investigation suspended. But then she found one that didn't. A single file dated 1956. It wasn't labeled missing person. It was labeled containment failure. Marla said softly, "What were you trying to contain, Sheriff?" She followed Donovan's last route to the bridge. The same fog, the same stillness. And on the rail, she noticed something new. Symbols carved into steel. Circles within circles. Each marked with a handprint. And below them, initials, H. She pressed her hand to the metal. It was cold, but pulsing, like it had a heartbeat. Marla, startled. Elias? That night, the town changed. Fog swept in, not from the hills this time, but from the river itself. It crawled through streets, pressed against windows, and poured beneath doorframes. And wherever it touched, memories shifted. Old photographs on walls changed faces. Names written in family Bibles rearranged themselves. And some people woke up remembering lives they never lived. Marla traced the sound to the water's edge. The river had receded, revealing an old stone door, half buried beneath the mud. She touched it. It hummed, then opened. Inside, steps spiraled down into a hollow chamber. And on the walls, she saw them, faces carved into stone. Every missing person from Dover's Hollow. Their mouths were open, as if mid-scream. Soft female voice echoing faintly. "Help me?" Marla, in a trembling voice. "Claire Harper?" We never left. At the bottom of the stairway, there was a mirror, or something like it. Water, standing perfectly still, reflecting nothing. When Marla leaned closer, her reflection blinked before she did. "You shouldn't have come." She tried to step back, but the ground beneath her shifted. The reflection smiled and reached through. That night, her radio crackled alive at the station. A male voice came through. "This is Sheriff Donovan. Do you read me?" But Donovan was gone for weeks. The following dawn, Dover's Hollow looked untouched. No fog, no sound, no wind. But every mirror in town had fog from the inside again. And in the reflection of each, you could see something faint. Not a person, but a shadow. A figure standing in water, whispering the same line. over and over. She's not gone, she's waiting. Marla's tape recorder was found washed up by the bridge. It contained a final recording, only 23 seconds long. The fog isn't weather. It's memory. Every 7 years, it opens and trades. One soul for one secret. Sheriff Donovan knew that. Then a man's voice, faintly beneath hers. Marla, you shouldn't have looked down. The next morning, the river's surface was calm again. But beneath the bridge, something new shimmered in the water. An eye, wide open, watching the town. And if you stood close enough, you could hear it breathing. They say the fog is gone now. That Dover's Hollow has moved on. But every 7 years, the mist returns. And next time, it won't be looking for Elias Harper. It will be looking for you. Because once the fog remembers your name, it never forgets. They said the fog in Dover's Hollow had a rhythm. It came like a tide and left like one. But in between, it listened. It waited. It remembered. 3 days had passed and Sheriff Donovan found the second car, the one left running on Hollow Bridge. Inside, the same pattern. Keys in ignition, door open, driver gone. And when the fog returned the next morning, it seemed to breathe in sync with his own fear. He kept his radio on, even though no one answered anymore. The town had grown silent, as if every breath was being held inside the mist. Donovan had begun hearing things, voices, almost whispers that came from the fog itself. Not words, exactly, just shapes of thought. Grief, confusion, and something like invitation. He wrote in his notebook, the fog doesn't hide them. It keeps them. At the edge of the hollow, there's a field once owned by the Marsh family, a wide, open stretch of dying grass. Locals called it the breath, because when the fog rolled through, it never touched the ground there. It hung just above it, pulsing like lungs. That's where Donovan went next, where he found the first real sign that the missing weren't gone, not entirely. He saw movement in the haze, not a person, but an outline, like heat above asphalt. And then a voice, soft female, familiar voice whispered, Eli. It was the name of the first man who disappeared, the man who walked into the fog. But the voice, it belonged to someone else. Donovan followed it deeper into the breath. His flashlight barely cut through the haze. Shapes formed, outlines of trees, fences, even doorways that shouldn't exist. He said it felt like walking through someone's memory. The fog showed him flashes. A diner with lights still on. A child chewing a puddle. A woman at the bridge, looking back and smiling. Then it all folded in on itself, and there was only one image left. A house. Old, wooden, and half submerged in mist. He recognized it immediately. The house from his childhood. The one that burned down 30 years ago. But in the fog, it was whole again, and the door was open. Inside, there were photographs on the wall, faces he knew but couldn't name. And in the center of the room, something was breathing. He saw the fog coiling inside the house like smoke, gathering around an old rocking chair. And sitting in that chair was a figure, head bowed, hands clasped. He whispered into the mist, "Who are you?" And the fog whispered back in a distorted, layered voice, "We are what's left." Donovan fell to his knees. Every sound in the hollow vanished. No wind, no breath, no life. Just the low thrum of his heartbeat and the feeling that the world had stopped turning. When he looked up again, the figure was gone, but carved into the wooden floor beneath the chair were words, fresh as though written moments ago. He didn't walk into the fog, it walked into him. That night, the fog rolled over Dover's Hollow again, and for the first time it didn't lift, The whole town disappeared beneath it, and from the sky, if anyone had been watching, you would have seen nothing but a silver blanket pulsing faintly with light, almost like something alive. When they found Sheriff Donovan's cruiser the next morning, his radio was still on. A single message had been broadcast for hours, a broken recording looping endlessly. Don't follow the voice, it's not them, it's... And then, nothing. For 48 hours, Dover's Hollow vanished completely from radar. No sound, no signal, just fog. Until one night, a week later, a child's voice came through the town's emergency frequency, echoing. Sheriff Donovan says, "It's almost done." And for those who knew him, that was the moment they realized. The fog hadn't taken him. It had chosen him. But what it wanted next was us. There's a kind of silence that doesn't comfort. A silence that feels like it's listening back. When the fog finally moved again, it didn't drift, it shifted, as though the hollow itself was turning its head. And what it looked at was him, Sheriff Donovan. He couldn't remember how long he'd been walking. Hours, days, years. Time inside the fog had no shape, only pulse. Sometimes it was dawn, sometimes it was midnight, and sometimes it was both. He kept calling out names: Eli, Margaret, Thomas, the missing ones, and sometimes something answered, not from in front of him, from behind in faint echoing whispers, but familiar voice. "You shouldn't have followed us." He turned and saw himself, standing 10 feet away. Same uniform, same tired eyes, but older and thinner. The other Donovan just smiled, head tilting slightly, and said softly, "You're catching up." Then the figure stepped backward and dissolved into the fog. That was the first time Donovan realized the truth. The fog didn't erase. It replaced. Every time it swallowed someone, it left a copy behind, a fragment stitched from memory and regret. And those fragments wandered, searching for what they'd lost. That's why no footprints were ever found, because they were walking in circles, over the same ground, over the same moments, endlessly. He reached the old marsh house again, but this time it was wrong. The windows were boarded, the roof caved in, and yet inside he could hear a lullaby, a voice he recognized instantly, his daughter's, but she'd been gone for years. He stepped inside. The air was cold and thick, moving like water. The walls flickered. One moment, old wood. The next, hospital white. He saw himself sitting by a bed, his daughter sleeping, machines whispering. He reached out, but his hand passed through her like smoke. Then the fog whispered, close to his ear, "Memory belongs to us now." Donovan fell back, choking. He wasn't breathing air anymore. He was breathing the hollow, and it remembered everything. Every cry, every secret, every person who'd ever stood on its soil and wished to forget, because that was the fog's gift, not death. Oblivion. Somewhere beyond the mist, he heard voices, familiar ones, dozens of them, all saying his name. He followed the sound until he saw light, a doorway of gold cutting through the gray, and standing in that doorway was every missing soul of Dover's Hollow. Eli, Margaret, the child from the bridge, all of them, staring back, alive but not living. Their eyes were hollow mirrors, reflecting not light but memory. Eli said softly, "It's not fog, Sheriff. It's a space between." He tried to step closer, but his legs wouldn't move. The mist held him like hands, and the faces began to change, shifting between strangers, friends, family, himself. He saw 1,000 versions of his own life, moments he never lived, decisions he never made. The fog was showing him what could have been, And somewhere inside that storm of memories, the woman's voice rose above the rest. Eli never left. He just became part of the remembering. Donovan understood then. The fog wasn't killing anyone. It was absorbing them, storing them, rebuilding a world made entirely of memory. And now, it wanted him to help it grow. He opened his mouth to scream, but instead of breath, mist poured out. His reflection formed in front of him, whispering something he couldn't hear. Then, from deep within the fog, a child's voice called again, echoing. Sheriff Donovan says it's almost done. When the light faded, the road was empty. No car, no footprints. Only Donovan's notebook, open, ink still wet. The final words written inside. It doesn't take you away, it takes you back. That night, a new fog appeared 30 miles north, in a town that had never known Dover's Hollow. And on the first morning after, a single voice came through the police radio there. A man's voice, calm, familiar. This is Sheriff Donovan. Can anyone hear me? The Hollow remembers. And now, it's moving on. If the fog remembers, what else does it hold? Stay with us as the mystery deepens in the next episode. Don't forget to comment, like, share, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell if you felt the chill of Dover's Hollow. Every whisper counts. Every view helps the story live on.